as part of our continued efforts to reach the African program, I'm now joined by Joyce. Joyce is the parliamentary candidate for the Lib Dem in Hammersmith. Joyce, thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you so much for
Just
having
quickly,
me.
tell us, you are a parliamentary candidate for Lib Dem in Hammersmith. Um, what will you be doing differently from the current MP in that constituency?
Okay, first I'd like to say, to introduce myself to people.
Yeah, go on.
I would say I'm a baby politician, one of the very new people in politics. My background is in international development and the charity sector, where I've spent many, many years standing up for the most oppressed people around the world. I have lived in many different countries, so my approach is an internationalist one, and I think I can bring a lot of what I've learned out there in terms of cohesion, societal cohesion. I know this is a cliche, but of all the places I've lived in, it doesn't matter whether you're in Bujumbura, or whether you're in London, or whether you're in Paris, or whether you're in Johannesburg, everybody wants the same things. I found parents all want children to go to a good school, to have access to health care when they need it. When we are all old, we want some care. We want a home to live in. And in essence, we really have so much in common than what divides us. Everybody wants the same thing. Everybody just wants to make the best life they can. So I believe I bring that, that sense of unity instead of dividing people. That sense of standing together. The reason why I joined politics from the international and charity sector is because I realized that even though you can help people, but if the policies and structures of society are so stacked against them, there is so little you can do. And so I thought, we've got to start changing the structures of our society. And people ask me, Joyce, you keep talking about these structures, why don't you do it? Then I thought, why not? Why can't I be the change I want to see? And so I come from a really different perspective. The people who are now in Hammersmith have been there for a very, very long time. They have a way of doing things. They're part of the establishment. In some ways, I think they've gotten so used to dealing with the same people. They've got connections, contacts, and all that, that I think in a way, after so many years, you become compromised. What I can say is that looking at Hammersmith and going out on the doorstep, what I hear from people, regardless of how long people have been here, Charing Cross Hospital, which is our local hospital, is still under threat, has been under threat. That has not changed. There is an estate there called Gibbs Green that has been under threat of demolition for so long. The worst thing is not just so that the Conservatives actually sold the land and they keep selling the land, and Charing Cross is about selling the land to developers. But Labour came in and stopped part of the process, but then they kept it that way. People are in limbo. They don't know, are we going forward? Are we staying? What we bring as Liberal Democrats, and I as a person, is a sense of mission, of actually getting people to a place where we have certainty. We have to make a decision about moving forward and not just waiting until the weather changes. It's good. The weather is never good. People cannot wait, cannot hold their lives on hold like that. They have children who they have to prepare for. Should they move house so they can then plan for school somewhere else? People have said they're really quite tired of the old order. They're so tired of the same old. And what I'm bringing in, I think, is a breath of fresh air, a new way of looking at things, and a perspective that comes from a place that says people can't live together. We can actually do these things, a perspective of hope.
Living together, doing things together. What are your thoughts about the Manchester attack?
I think it's really very sad, and my heart goes out to all the people in Manchester and all the families affected and all the people affected in one way or the other. I can't imagine what they're going through and how their lives will change completely from that moment on. It's a very sad thing. I think we have to work in society to ensure that, first of all, we can help people who perpetrate these kind of things, we can work towards a place whereby they are not in a situation to be influenced by the kind of ideology that does that. And we can change our societal structures to include every community so that when such things are happening in our communities, then there are enough people, we are all looking out for each other and saying, no, 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 this can't go on, and watching out for each other. Because I believe that you can put a lot of police on the street, and that's good, but actually, excuse me, security comes from all of us. It's when we're working together, when we're watching out for each other, when we feel our common humanity, when we believe that we are the people who can protect each other. So I'm so happy to know that in Manchester, people have come together. People have not let fear, have not let this really bad atrocity bring them apart or start blaming the blameless, but realizing it's a terrible tragedy. Our world is in a broken place, but we have to find leaders who are brave enough to face the situation and to really start working together for the common good.
As a potential MP, should you be elected, what foreign policy agenda will you be advocating?
I will always be advocating in working within the UN structures.
In terms of foreign policy,
Yeah,
that is attitude of the United Kingdom, the foreign policy of the United Kingdom, that's what I mean. The UK's foreign policy and relationship with other countries, especially the so-called third world or developing countries.
First of all, I think we should always have relationship with other people. In my opinion, I think we should have, first of all, with our next door neighbors. I really believe that we should have as close a union with our next door neighbors and not work towards separation.
Are you in favor of Britain going to wars, such as the war in Libya, the war in Iraq?
No.
If you were to have a vote, will you be voting if that were to happen again?
Yes, I would definitely. I protested. I went on the streets against Iraq. I was one of the people on the streets. And I was really dismayed that despite the fact that there were millions and millions of us who went out on the streets, and the UN said that, you know, there were question marks about the war, that we still went through that war. No, I would not support those kind of military adventures. I would always support working with our neighbors, working within NATO, working with the whole world, working within the UN structures. Everything should be governed by international law.
Ashburn, as we count down to the program, do you think the Lib Dem has a very good foreign policy that could promote peaceful relationship in our community at the foreign level?
Well, I'm not running for. I'm not.
I know. I'm just allowing you to comment.
But my comment is that the policies that we have, it seems to be quite a good policy when it comes to international policies. We look at sort of the way to, as Joyce rightly said, incorporate sort of humanity and the whole global sort of structure in how we're going to improve our policies. But however, saying that there's fragmentation in policies. There's fragmentation that where other country doesn't abide by international laws. There's lots of countries that ignores policies that made by the UN that condemns certain violence, and yet they continue abusing that. And yet the disadvantage is that when other countries said, well, if one country seems not to comply with what the EU says, then we'll do the same. So what we need is that we have all countries globally to actually agree with what policies are brought in. If they say to you not to do this, you're not supposed to do it. You know, there's certain countries that will totally ignore that and continue abusing the system. And you know the countries we're talking about, and sort of destroying a different community. We need to address that. So international and global policies needs to be recognized. When the UN said you don't do that or you respect these international laws, we got to do that. If one particular country is not addressing that, abusing the system to their advantage and ignoring what the UN said, then therefore we really haven't got a structure. We're going back to the global system where the United States think they can dominate all the countries to their philosophy or their ideology of discipline, which they themselves in their country cannot discipline, or they themselves is unfair within the country, but yet.
All right, Ashwin, I'm sorry. I think I've got a call. Let me take that call. That's about the last call. Okay, the call is gone. Tope, your last take on the program.
Yes, I think I understand where my colleagues from the Liberal Democrats are coming from, but of course we should remember that 52% of the UK, population during the referendum decided that they wanted to leave Europe. I voted to leave Europe, not because of immigration, but I voted because there was corruption and bureaucracy. We're talking of Liberal Democrat that is saying that they would turn that around and call for a second referendum. The same party that promised students that they will give them tuition fee, but did not give them that tuition fee, they can't be trusted. In fact, when you talk about because everything comes around, what goes around comes around. The crisis we're going through now in terms of this jihadists spreading was because Liberal Democrats entered into a marriage of convenience with the conservative and watered down the counter-terrorism strategy called the contest strategy. They can't be trusted. Of course, I love my sister, but what I'm talking about here now is that when you're thinking about when you're talking about foreign policy, you cannot rely on Liberal Democrat because they're always changing their mind and the winds they just go like this.
Quickly, one.
Yes. First,
yeah.
Well,
his name is Tope. His name is Tope.
Okay, yes, Mr. Tope.
Yes.
First of all, there are a few things that are quite clear.
Okay.
You say Liberal Democrats can't be trusted.
No. Of course not.
Every party has changed its mind. We had Theresa May call the election after saying she's not going to call it at all.
Okay.
We've had every single party change their minds. I think Liberal Democrats are pragmatic.
Okay.
First and foremost, we are not going against the will of the people.
Oh, okay.
What we are doing is that we're saying our hope is to stay in a united world. Okay, the people voted the way they did, but they voted given really wrong information. For example, we knew that the money that was going to go to the NHS, the next day the people who said it was going to go after that referendum said, oh no, actually that was a mistake. There were so many false things that were selling the Leave campaign. What we're saying, we think that people should have a right to look at what is negotiated by Theresa May at the end of the day, have a really good look, and decide for themselves.
Okay.
Is this what we wanted?
I'm sorry, I've run.
No, we're not saying. Is this
what
what we wanted, or do we like what we had best? So what we are saying, the people should have a right to decide for themselves whether they voted for the departure, they should also vote for the destination.
Okay, all right, Joyce, quick 1 minute, you've got a quick 1 minute response.
Sort of, but by you saying that the Liberal Democrat can't be trusted, I totally disagree with that.
Okay.
So if we talk about Brexit was sort of actually a campaign on false information. So that's one for a start. Liberal Democrat did a lot of differences when there was in coalition with Conservative. We had 1 million apprentices. We had free school dinners.
The lunch they're going to take away, that's a Leave Dem policy.
We had free school dinners. We had the pension system. We corrected that.
Okay.
We had so many different, we had the human rights. We stopped that when Conservative wanted that.
Snooper Charter?
The Snooper Charter, I was coming to that. Snooper Charter, we stopped that. And as soon as the Conservative came, first thing they brought was the Snooper Charter back into the operation. So we did a lot to stop the Conservatives from doing what they're supposed to do. So when you say we are not trusted, yes, we are trusted. We are the party of the future. We are the party that will make a change compared to your party, the Christian People's Party.
Oh, yes.
The Christian People's Party, I haven't heard of them. However, the Liberal Democrats will excel. And we are excelling at this minute.
Okay.
But just quickly come back.
Something,
I'm sorry, I haven't got the time.
And Labour has been opposing nothing. That's why Theresa May gets away with whatever she gets away with.
Okay. All right, Joyce, thank you so much. Can I give you 1 minute to talk? 1 minute, talk to the people of Hammersmith.
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. What I'd like to say to the people of Hammersmith, they've had a very, very, very long time with the same old people. There have been some good things, but what I'd like to say, this election goes beyond individuals. This election will determine the future direction of our country. This election will determine what happens to our children and grandchildren. So when I've gone out on the doorstep, both supporters of Labour and Conservative supporters have told me for this time only, we will lend the Liberal Democrats our votes because we want to make a statement about the direction that our country is going into and which we do not like.
Okay. Let's so that you don't say, I don't give you the chance. You want to talk to the people of Thamesmead in 1 minute.
So my people in Thamesmead, I just want to say, you know what? This is the time when you need to send a strong message to all the mainstream parties. You've given them your trust in the past and they've always waved. Give it to the Christian Party because we're truthful. We'll bring in a Christ-like approach to policies. When you say no, we'll say no. When you say yes, we'll say yes. And we'll make sure that this Brexit is for our children and for you a very good Brexit.
All right, that's for the people of Thamesmead.
You can't be trusted. All right. You can't be trusted. That's the good news. They can't be trusted. All right.
Trust the Liberal
Ashbo, thank you so much for coming on the show. Joyce, thank you for taking your time to join us. After the election, we'll be happy to have you come back on the show after the election.
I'd love to come back.
All right, Tope, we wish you best of luck at Thamesmead. All right, we'll go on a short break now, and then we'll bring in our next guest. Don't go away. Quickly drop
in that community, in that big Albert Square, jam-packed with people. People have come from miles. I talked to an elderly couple. They come from miles, they said. I said, where from? From Oldham. Well, that can be miles away from Manchester from one point of view. It was just a wonderful experience of seeing people coming together. And it occurred to me as I walked through the streets afterwards, talking to people and just observing what was going around. I bumped into people who were going into gigs, sat outside bars, carrying on as normal. I was proud of them. It struck me. But what also strikes me is almost by the hour now, we get the name of another child. Maybe some of them are adults, but they're all someone's children. Dead. People whose lives have been lost. Another family, utterly shattered. And it's heartbreaking. My kids each know somebody who was there on that night. And for all of us, it feels beyond devastating, beyond heartbreaking. But here's the thing. You see, we will remember those 22 children. We will remember every single one of them, and we will stand by their families. We will put our arms around them. They will be never forgotten, but the terrorist will. You see, here's the thing. He died in vain. He died to divide us. He died to set us against one another. And what did I see in Manchester? People putting their arms around one another. We saw the homeless guy who did everything he could help those people who were suffering and in need at that dark time on Monday night. We saw Muslim cabbies giving free rides to people. We saw people opening up their homes. You see, that's the Britain I love. And that's the Britain the terrorists want to destroy. And only a day and a half after that devastating terrorist attack, he has already lost. They have already lost. But it feels raw now. It really feels raw. But I want to just say, those children, they're our children. We're all Manchester. We are all Britain. In the words of Tony Walsh, the poet, we're all Britain, whether we are born here or drawn here.
Reacting to the attack, the Home Secretary Amber Ruth said the attackers' aim of creating fear and dividing Britain will be defeated.
The city of Manchester has been affected by terrorism before. Its spirit was not bowed, its community continued. This time it has been a particular attack on the most vulnerable in our society. Its intention was to sow fear, its intention is to divide, but it will not succeed.
Meanwhile, a family who witnessed the attack which killed 22 people and injured several others said that there was initial pandemonium before people realized it was a terrorist incident.
All of a sudden we heard a bang, but it sounded like an echo, so we kind of looked at each other like, is that something? No, it can't be. And then we were like, no, that's definitely a balloon. and then everything kind of went calm for about 5 or 6 seconds. And I mean, everyone in the arena was just, it was scarily
quiet.
still.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that was it. There was pandemonium everywhere.
People were sort of moving from the exit that they'd originally trying to get
Coming
out
right
of
down the stairs.
and coming down to our neck of the woods, if you like. So there was a great big bottleneck.
Yeah.
Everybody's pushing, everybody's shoving, the shoes being lost, phones being dropped.
I mean, we
bags
saw one girl who literally skimmed the top of the chair. She went straight over the stairs because she was just so panicked to get out.
Also, the U.S. President Donald Trump and Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have offered their condolences to the victims of the Manchester attacks, even as the relationship between the UK and the U.S. came under minor strain following a leak to the U.S. media of information on the attack shared with America.
I would like to begin by offering my prayers to the people of Manchester in the United Kingdom. I extend my deepest condolences to those so terribly injured in this terrorist attack, and to the many killed and the families, so many families, of the victims. We stand in absolute solidarity with the people of the United Kingdom. So many young, beautiful, innocent people living and enjoying their lives murdered by evil losers in life. I won't call them monsters because they would like that term. They would think that's a great name. I will call them from now on losers because that's what they are. They're losers. And we'll have more of them. But they're losers. Just remember that.
You said, Mr. President, just now, that we must confront evil in the world. We must confront the barbarians. They are, sadly, still with us. I want to say something about the bloody horror in Manchester last night. The slaughter of innocents must be unconditionally condemned and unflinchingly confronted, no matter where it occurs. In Manchester, San Bernardino, or Jerusalem, terror is terror is terror. We must all unite to defeat it. Mr. President, today you call the terrorists losers. I know you agree with me that it's our job to make sure that they continue to lose. We will defeat them.
As Britain continues to probe deeper into the terrorist incident network in the country following the Manchester attack, NATO leaders meeting in Brussels focuses on developing stronger military ties and better intelligence sharing to defeat the terrorist network around the world.
As part of his first foreign trip as U.S. President, Donald Trump will meet NATO leaders in Brussels. They will gather at the alliance's new $1.1 billion headquarters on May 25th to discuss boosting defense spending and counter-terrorism. Trump called the alliance obsolete while campaigning for U.S. president, but revised his opinion in April after talking to NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg.
The Secretary General and I had a productive discussion about what more NATO can do in the fight against terrorism. I said it was obsolete. It's no longer obsolete. We must also ensure that NATO members meet their financial obligations and pay what they owe. Many have not been doing that.
All of NATO's 28 member nations have promised to spend 2% of GDP on defense by 2024. Only 5 nations currently meet the requirement. Leaders are expected to explain how they'll reach that target at their first meeting inside NATO's new building. As part of the unveiling ceremony, President Trump will dedicate a memorial made from ruins of the World Trade Center and the Berlin Wall.
I think he will come to the summit wanting to reassure the allies that they can count on the United States.
Rattled by Russian aggression in Ukraine and elsewhere, NATO has begun deploying 4 multinational battalions.
Just get me somebody, anybody with the next available flight. You have a very beautiful home. I know I asked you I want anybody, but not that girl. Go in there, let me show you your room.
Cynthia.
I'm talking to you. Why you can't work with devil? You're not here to study, you're here to work.
I think you could probably rise to be editor-in-chief of this magazine.
Was it Raymond I just saw you that you're kissing him?
Raymond is single. He doesn't have a ring on his finger. He wants to marry me. What's the big deal?
I made you into what you are today.
And look at who made this. Are you being serious?
I gave you my daughter and you took her to a strange land.
Welcome back, and that is the film by Roslyn Sonny Joseph, In a Strange Land. I'm now joined by the story script writer and producer Roslyn Sonny Joseph. Roslyn, thank you for joining us on the program today. And we are also joined by another partner, Ken Uwefulu. Ken, thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Roslyn, In a Strange Land, what is it about?
In a Strange Land is basically a true life story of a young lady that has been in England from the age of 15 years old, and she's now grown into a proper adult, had children in the UK, but she's a lady that approached me when she watched my last project, which is Labo Life is a Journey. She found it quite intriguing, and she decided to have a meeting with me to tell me the story of her life, to say, this is what I've been through in the hand of somebody in this country. And I thought,
so it's really a true life story.
It's really a true life story. So I thought that's not true. That can't be true. In England, does modern day slavery really exist in England? And then she said, believe you me, it's happened to me. But please, if you can help me turn this, my life story, into a motion picture and show it to the whole world, I would really appreciate it. Because she said each time she sees that lady, she sees the family, she had this hunger within her that she wants to kill her. So I said, well, you're not going to kill anybody in England. This is London. If you kill, you go to jail. So that's how we came up with the movie In a Strange Land. Because I believe we're from Africa, we're from Nigeria or Ghana. London is a strange land to us. You're coming in here, you don't know what you're going to meet. So she's been brought here into the dark world, rather than we say London is a land flowing with milk and honey. The milk and the honey didn't flow for her. Rather, she came into a dark world.
What was the storyline of her life?
The storyline of her life is someone that have been trafficked here from Nigeria to United Kingdom. They promised her heaven and earth, but on getting here, it's another story. I really want you, listener, to come and watch this film. I'm not going to give too much away.
So you don't want to tell us more about
No.
it? Okay. Yes. This lady being talked about, how much of experience did she have in the hand of the people who trafficked her into London?
Basically, it's really scary to go into details, of what she actually went through, because I was the production manager behind this production, and we had to listen to stories and everything. It was a long time, a growing pain. She had it all bottled up. The anger, the frustration in her eyes, you could see that this is something that she had endured forever. So it's not a year or two.
What was the anger about?
The anger is about, you see, she has this anger towards the society at large, like she was actually going through this thing and no one was able to help her. But the problem here is this: she had nowhere to go to. She had nobody to talk to. So how would you expect society to reach out to you when you can't be reached? There was no communication. She was cut off from the world. She was cut off from every relative. Nothing to hold on to.
Was she actually doing anything specifically? The lead actress in that movie, what's the name?
The name of the lead actress is
Cynthia.
Cynthia.
Actually standing in for this victim of modern day trafficking. Was Cynthia or this lady in question, what specific trauma was she made to go through in terms of real life experience that led to that anger in her? What was she subjected to?
Okay, I take it from there because actually Cynthia is the boss, is the woman that is actually putting the young girl in question into. So Cynthia is the woman who actually meted out the treatment to her.
Okay.
So the question you're asking is about the lady behind it. Yes, if you watch the movie rather, you will see where she had to go through different stages of emotions. The excitement of arriving here in the UK, the whole going to school thing was still there in her. Then when she was handed over to Cynthia, the whole thing changed. And Cynthia told her, look, you're not here to study. You are
I
here.
think we're giving too much away.
I mean, it's, you understand? So it's just one of those things. Like I always tell people when people ask me these things, when you want to talk about modern day slavery, like we try to showcase in this movie, reflect back home in Nigeria, where you are able to afford a house and a car and a good job. You go to the village and ask for your niece or nephew or one of those people in there. Say, look, give me your daughter or son. I will take care of them. I'll better their life. They will come back and help you in the village. And by the time they get to the city, these ones are subjected to all chores, as in you wash the car, you clean the car, you bathe the kids, you cook, you do everything. And most times they don't even get to go to school. You understand? So this is exactly what we're trying to show here in this movie, that it's not just we saying modern day slavery. To me, like I always said, in the coinage, modern day slavery, I don't go with that. It's slavery. Slavery yesterday, today, tomorrow is slavery. You understand? Slavery is slavery.
Rosalind, what were you trying to? What are you trying to achieve with the story In a Strange Land?
What we stand to achieve is just to alleviate the pain of this young lady that have been through so much torture.
Putting into motion picture.
In putting into motion picture. To actually let people to be aware that there is still modern day slavery existing within our community.
Can we just agree with Ken? Slavery is slavery.
Slavery is slavery.
It
doesn't matter if
whether past or present.
It's slavery. And no one should be kept,
no
against their will.
one should be kept against their wish. No one should be kept inside to say, I'm taking your passport away from you, I'm taking your rights away from you. I determine when you eat, what you wear. Do you know, all those kind of things is our daily need, necessity. So when it's been taken away from you by another human being, that you think you can't communicate with your parents, you can't communicate with the outside world, the frustration, the anger, the emotion alone can trigger anything else, mental health. So that's what this lady is going through, that even though she's settled in her husband's house, she still had that hunger in her that when
she eventually got her freedom.
She eventually got her freedom. That's
she ran away?
The movie will tell you
what happened. Will tell you what happened exactly. Because myself, I didn't even know anything modern day slavery exists in the UK until she came up. So what we stand to achieve by producing In a Strange Land is to raise the awareness that, okay, we're so much hot on the security, the ISIS, the bombing things going on around the world. Modern day slavery still existing in our community. Are you aware of it? Do you know?
Why I'm keen on knowing the kind of issues she was subjected to by Cynthia was to ask my next question. Was she used as domestic slave or sexual?
No. It was basically domestic.
Okay, so she was a domestic slave, subjected to dealing with all manners of chores at home, denied basic education, denied freedom, no access to public.
That's right,
And she spent how many years doing that?
I think she said she stayed with the lady for about 8 years.
8 years. But what about a situation where girls are brought from either anywhere, Nigeria, Benin, Lagos, for sexual exploitation, and they engage them in sexual exploitation and they pay the master, the lady or the man who has brought them. Don't we have that as well?
Oh yes, we do. I just decided not to focus the movie on the sexual exploitation part of slavery, because at the end of the day she's telling us the domestic slavery part of her story. Because the lady's husband was never in this country. That was why they brought the madam brought her here to come and be looking after the kids, the cooking. But that's not the issue. If you want to bring them here, please treat them like human beings.
Is there any crime, Ken, in actually bringing your nephew, your cousin, your brother, or somebody from anywhere to give you a helping hand?
Basically, I mean, there's really no harm in trying to better anyone's life, as long as you do it through the right channels. We have a system here in this country that you have to go through. You don't have to bring anybody against their will. You don't have to deny these people movement or freedom of anything. The right is there for us to exploit. So by the time you bring these people in line with the policies that govern this nation and the human rights of every individual, having the full knowledge of their rights, you're not doing anything wrong. But by the time you decide to exploit these ones, by denying them their movement, denying them the communication with the world or their relatives, subjecting them to inhumanity, subjecting them to things that you can't even stand as a human being, then there is a crime being committed. And that brings me back to your question about the sexual exploitation. Why we didn't go into that in this production is because we're actually telling a story of a lady who's basically on the domestic exploitation. But in fairness to your question, the sexual exploitation is a bane in our society, especially in one of the places you mentioned, which I'm not going to go into in details. It's like a business. It's a booming market for the people within that community. And the government of Nigeria is actually fighting to eradicate such things, which, although you know how difficult it is when you have a network of people using these ones, and some parents actually carrying their children to these ones. Some have to go to the point of going to a shrine to swear that they will adhere to whatever instruction that's been asked of them to follow.
Okay. All right. In a Strange Land, it's a movie. Yeah. Who are the actors and are the actresses?
We have Rosemary Sani Ajose.
And that's you?
That's myself.
The scriptwriter?
The scriptwriter, the producer, co-produced by William Kemet. We have Samu Biago that played the dad from the village, because we actually want to see the story from the village, because they live in Nigeria because of their poor background. That's why the parent agreed for her to be brought here to the United Kingdom. And we have Ngozi Thompson. Yeah. She's the one that played the house girl. She's the lead character.
That's the former.
We have Tony Moore, Larry King. We have Lucien Morgan, Emmy Benson, Kewe Ogunja, and many more of the UK upcoming actors and actresses in it as well.
Fantastic. Can I ask you, how much did this production cost?
Wow. Production is what you can't really put a price to, because you have your budget to shoot the movie. Yeah. As soon as you finish shooting the movie, you have the marketing aspect of it. After you premiere the movie, you have to take it to cinema house. From cinema house, you release to DVD. From DVD, you sell to TV station. So the money never actually stops being spent until you wrap up.
So talking about premiere, when is the premiere?
The
London premiere?
Yeah, the London premiere is coming up 9th of June at the Lighthouse Cinema Hall.
On the 9th of June?
Yeah, in Camberwell.
Lighthouse Cinema Hall in Camberwell. That is 254 to 270 Camberwell Road. Yeah. SC5 ODP. Yeah. So if my viewers are interested in fact, I'm not saying if. This is a film, a movie I think we need to watch. We need to see this movie. We've got some lessons to take home from this movie. It's not just a movie, it's a true life story that is important for us to see. If any of them watching and they want to come, is it free of charge or they get it?
Actually, like you asked, how much did you use to produce the
okay.
film?
So I thought it's for charity.
The ticket can be purchased online. Eventbrite, we have it there.
Eventbrite. So if they just Google Eventbrite in a Strange Land.
Yeah, it will come up.
It will come. How much is the ticket?
This start from chicken change, £10.
For students?
£10, okay.
Yes. £10 student, standard £25, and VIP is £50.
Okay, all right. So if you just Google In a Strange Land Eventbrite, you can get your ticket there. Go online, get your ticket. We need to see this movie. One, for three important reasons. You need to see this movie as part of our campaign effort to say no to exploitation of any kind of person. Two, as part of our community support to the Nollywood industry, and of course to Roslyn, Sonia, Jose, and as part of our community support towards one another. This is why you need to get this. £10 is not, it's chicken change, as we've been told. It's been a pleasure. All right, Roslyn, getting the signal to call this off. Thank you for joining us on the show. Last thing to say?
Thank you very much. I just want to say to a listener out there, hello. Hope you're enjoying your bank holiday, and then make sure you join us on the 9th of June on the red carpet.
All right.
I'll see you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's go back to the video, to the clip, and until I come your way again, do enjoy the rest of your bank holiday, and bye.
Just get me somebody, anybody with the next available flight.
You have a very beautiful home.
I know I asked you I want anybody, but not that girl. Go in there, let me show you your room. I'm talking to you. Why you can't wake Quincy? Devil! You're not here to study, you're here to work.
I think you could probably rise to be editor-in-chief of this magazine.
Was it Raymond I just saw you that you're kissing in the Raymond is single. He doesn't have a ring on his finger. He wants to marry me. What's the big deal?
I made you into what you are today.
And look at who made this. Are you being serious?
I gave you my daughter and you took her to a strange land.
Focus on the program to review and discuss issues around the diaspora community in the UK. The program offers you that unrestricted voice on issues affecting